The day before the wedding, my boyfriend got into a car accident. When I arrived at the hospital, he was holding another woman and asked me coldly, "Who are you?" After learning from the doctor that he had lost his memory, I had no choice but to cancel the wedding. On his birthday, she overheard his conversation with his best friend, Christopher. "How long are you going to play around before marrying Lily Campbell?" Christopher Garcia's voice sounded both infatuated and indifferent. "After Ali's birthday, I'll consider it," but when I took out the marriage certificate and placed it in front of him, he completely lost his mind. The door of the private room was slightly ajar, and the conversation inside made me stop in my tracks. "Christopher, aren't you afraid that Lily will break up with you once she finds out the truth?" Christopher said with a nonchalant tone. "She wouldn't. Back then, she was so devoted to chasing me just to marry me. Her parents are gone. And now I'm her only family left in this world. When the time comes, I just need to coax her a little and she'll calm down. Right now, Ali needs me more." The people around started to tease. "Our Christopher is really something. What if Ali changes her mind and agrees to be with you? What else could happen? Christopher would just dump Lily, that fool." Christopher's low and cold voice sounded again. "I'll explain it to her properly when the time comes." Hearing this, my heart skipped a beat, and my hand loosened, causing the box to clatter to the ground. The door of the private room opened, and the person who opened it looked flustered upon seeing me. "Lily, when did you get here?" "Just arrived." My voice was neither too loud nor too soft, and the person in front of me immediately let out a sigh of relief. Bending down to pick up the gift from the floor, I walked into the private room, where Christopher was holding a drunken woman with a flushed face in his arms. It was none other than his long-cherished white moonlight, Ali. A flicker of guilt flashed across his face, but he quickly composed himself. "Lily, what are you doing here? Didn't I say I'd think about our wedding after I remember everything?" "Think about it." So I was just an optional backup plan to him all along. I walked over and placed the gift in front of him. "This is what you once wanted most." After saying that, I fled the place as if escaping. He didn't lose his memory. He just didn't want to marry me. He was still waiting for the woman named Ali to change her mind. After graduating from university, I became Christopher's assistant. This man posted on the school bulletin board was my idol throughout my 4 years of college. Upon hearing from colleagues that the woman he deeply loved had gone abroad, the heart that adored him began to stir again. After countless nights of drinking to cover for him, Christopher finally took me home himself. In the intimate confines of the car, he turned and asked me earnestly, "Lily, maybe we should give it a try." The year my parents passed away in a car accident, he took care of me with meticulous attention, holding me gently to offer comfort. "Lily, from now on, I'll be your only family." After that, I followed him around like an accessory, appearing at all sorts of occasions with him. Until Ali returned to the country, a different look appeared in his eyes. The memory was interrupted by the ringing of the phone. "Lily, Christopher is drunk. Come pick him up." Thinking about these people who knew the truth, cooperating with Christopher to make a fool out of me, I replied irritably into the phone, "Just send him back. I have things to do tonight." Without waiting for a response, I hung up. After sitting alone in the bar for hours, I still returned to that house. The moment the door opened, Christopher was wrapped in a towel. A woman lay on the bed. I didn't ask him, just turned and went to the guest room. Christopher caught up and grabbed me by the arm. Ali got drunk. I was worried something might happen to her, so I brought her back. "Even if you're my girlfriend, Ali is family to me." Family. So he has so many relatives in this world. Perhaps the cold wind made me feel unwell, so I simply took the day off and stayed home. When I woke up, the table was already piled with an exquisite breakfast. Ali greeted me with a smile. "Miss Campbell. Christopher and I grew up together. We're very close." I lowered my head to nibble on the bread without responding, while she continued talking to herself. "Christopher has lost his memory, forgetting some trivial things." What trivial things indeed. I couldn't help but take a sip of the milk by my hand. The scalding milk instantly burned my throat. Ali suddenly rushed over. Just in time to collide with the milk I accidentally spilled, she screamed loudly. The door to another room opened. Christopher rushed out. With a worried expression, he picked up Ali's hand to examine it. The next second, His eyes were filled with anger as he looked at me. Lily, did you do this on purpose? Do you know how important next week's piano performance is to Ally? I didn't expect you to be so jealous. The pain deep in my throat left me with no strength to argue back. Before I could react, he immediately rushed out carrying Ally. It wasn't until evening that Christopher returned. I was drinking porridge in the living room when he walked over, snatched the bowl from my hands, and smashed it on the floor, amid the sound of shattering porcelain. He roared, "Lily, do you realize that if it had been any worse, Ally might never have been able to play the piano again? You almost ruined her." I was left speechless, only regretting that the only food I could eat at the moment had been ruined by him. After taking a deep breath, I took out my phone and typed a few words. She ran into the milk herself. It wasn't intentional on my part. I'm a bit anxious and keep typing to explain myself. Christopher suddenly snatched my phone and smashed it on the ground. "Lily, you've really disappointed me." The next second, he grabbed my arm and dragged me towards the door. "Lily, you hurt Ally and now you're trying to avoid responsibility. Today you must go and apologize to her until she forgives you." I kept struggling, but he threw me into the car. As the car headed to the hospital, my heart turned ice cold. In the hospital ward, Ally lay there with a pale face, her hands wrapped in thick bandages. Christopher pulled me inside. "Apologize." I opened my mouth, but could only manage to produce a faint sound. It was the frightened little nurse beside me who noticed something was wrong. She approached me with a startled exclamation. "Miss, your throat is severely burned. If not treated properly, it could get much worse." Christopher's face flickered with an almost imperceptible expression as his voice trailed off. "Stop pretending to be pitiful here to shirk responsibility. First, apologize wholly, then go tend to your wounds." The young nurse watched us nervously, wanting to say more, but I stopped her. I borrowed a pen from the nurse and wrote a line. "Miss Ally, I'm sorry. I'll return Christopher to you." Christopher's face instantly darkened. "Lily, what do you mean? What do you mean by give it back to Ally?" His voice involuntarily rose. "Didn't you say you were my girlfriend? Or have you been lying to me all along?" He's still pretending to have amnesia, but I no longer want to play the fool and act along with him. I bent down deeply in a bow, then turned and fled the hospital room as if escaping. Without looking back, Christopher roared behind me. As I walked out of the hospital, I felt as if something was slowly slipping away. The night wind was so cold that I couldn't help but hug my arms tightly. The next second, a coat was draped over my shoulders. Turning my head, I saw a familiar face. Shen Xingzhou. How did he return from abroad? Shen Xingzhou is a friend I've grown up with since childhood. On the very day Christopher and I announced we were together, he went abroad, yet now he stands before me, looking down at me from above. "What? Did Christopher dump you?" I gave him an annoyed punch and nodded with reddened eyes. After watching me write down the whole incident on my phone, Shen Xingzhou clenched his fists and said he wanted to go in and beat up Christopher, but I stopped him. The next second, the man in front of me knelt down on his knees. "Lily, how about we give it a try?" The same words. Christopher's face instantly flashed in my mind. My nose stung and tears slid down my cheeks. Shen Xingzhou was at a loss, holding me in his arms and gently patting my back to comfort me. "All right, don't cry. I was just joking. Actually, my mom has been pressuring me, so I wanted to find someone to help me out." I pushed him away and typed a good on my phone. With Shen Xingzhou's help, I moved out of Christopher's villa. These days, probably because of Ally's influence, Christopher hasn't actively sought me out either. After all, he's lost his memory. How could it be easily exposed? Shen Xingzhou's parents rushed back from abroad on the day of the engagement. When I arrived in my formal attire, I unexpectedly ran into Christopher at the hotel entrance. He looked at me with surprise in his eyes, his face filled with displeasure. "Lily, do you know today is Ally's birthday? What are you doing here dressed like this?" The people around immediately started making a commotion. "Sister Lily has been gone for so long, it seems she came prepared today to propose to our Christopher." Christopher's face flushed slightly. Instead, I pulled out a document from my bag and handed it to him. "Director Garcia, this is my resignation letter. Thank you for your guidance over the years." The surroundings fell into complete silence. Christopher took the document. His face filled with disbelief, then it turned into anger. Lily, are you forcing me to marry you by threatening to resign? With that, he threw the resignation letter at me. Before I regain my memory, you'd better not make things too ugly. Before he could finish his words, a pair of hands wrapped around his arm. Christopher, let's go in. Many friends have come to today's birthday party. Ally looked at me provocatively. Miss Campbell, you should come too, although I didn't invite you, since you're Christopher's secretary, I'm happy to have you. She emphasized the word secretary heavily. I didn't respond and turned to walk in another direction, but Christopher grabbed my arm. Lily, what do you want to do? Today is Ally's birthday. Whatever you have to say, we can talk about it later. If you dare to ruin such an important day, I will never forgive you. Feeling the sympathetic gazes from those around me, my cheeks flushed slightly. Christopher perhaps felt his words were too harsh and released my arm. I've forgotten so many things now, and it's truly unfair to you. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh, shaking off his arm. Christopher, resigning is me informing you. It doesn't require your approval. The breakup was already over at the hospital. Today, I came here to get married, not to watch your performance. Christopher's expression darkened further, his voice low. Lily, if you still want to marry me, stop making a scene here. After speaking, he turned and exchanged a glance with Ally, giving her a reassuring look. Wait until Ally's birthday passes. I'll give you an answer. Today's Ally is dressed extravagantly. One might mistake this for their engagement banquet. I scoffed and pulled out a red booklet from my bag. I opened the booklet and held it up high so everyone present could see it clearly. Christopher, look clearly. I'm already married. The surrounding crowd suddenly fell silent, all eyes turning toward Christopher. Beside them, Christopher's best friend spoke up. Lily, you're joking, right? This must be a fake certificate. You're just trying to piss off Christopher, aren't you? Sister Lily, marriage is a serious matter. You can't just act recklessly out of spite. I had no intention of explaining further and turned to walk toward the banquet hall that belonged to me. The next second, my arm was grabbed by Christopher. Ally spoke up first. Christopher, since Miss Campbell is already married, let's just wish her well. After all, you've long forgotten about the past. Christopher acted as if he hadn't heard anything, pulling me towards the door. Lily, let's have a proper talk. I used all my strength to break free from his grasp. Garcia, I'm no longer your employee. Please keep your distance from me. No one dared to step forward and intervene. Ally also fearfully let go of Christopher's arm. Only the look in their eyes was filled with jealousy when they glanced at me. Suddenly, a fist landed on Christopher's face. Shinshingzhou pulled me over and checked me up and down, only relaxing after confirming I was unharmed. Christopher, I told you, if you ever hurt Lily, I would take her away from you. Today is Lily's and my engagement party. What kind of devilry are you trying to pull? Christopher didn't respond, just stared fixedly at Shinshingzhou's hand resting on my waist. Ally walked over to help Christopher up, pointing at me and saying loudly, Miss Campbell, you ran off with another man while Christopher had amnesia. Seems to me you'd already done something to betray Christopher. The people around us began looking at me with contempt in their eyes. Lily, after all these years with Christopher, you're actually sneaking around with other guys behind his back. Lily, how can you do this to Christopher after all he's done for you? This time I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Miss Ally, do you ever reflect like this when you're hugging someone else's boyfriend? Christopher has amnesia, not a broken heart. Since you truly love each other, I'll step aside for you. Ally's eyes instantly reddened as she looked at Christopher with grievance. Christopher remained unmoved, only suddenly beginning to panic. Lily, you promised to wait until I regained my memory. I won't agree to break up. Wait. What I waited for was the sight of him holding Ally as they walked away. What came instead was his hysterical anger and distrust towards me. All for Ally. At this thought, I took Shinshingzhou's hand and left without hesitation. Christopher, but I've forgotten everything. From the day he pretended to lose his memory, I should have forgotten. The farce is over. Ally's birthday party must go on. Recently, to take care of Ally, Christopher has been at the hospital. Finally back in my own home, where there was no longer any trace of my life, Even the bed sheets I once slept on have all been replaced. The aunt cautiously began to speak. Mr. Garcia, did you and Miss Lily break up? Was she all right after being scolded so badly that day? Under Christopher's questioning, the aunt finally revealed everything. The milk for breakfast that day was prepared by Miss Ally, and I even reminded her about it. I never expected it would be Miss Lily who got scolded after drinking it. But why did you carry Miss Ally away? The aunt has worked here for many years and is very familiar with both me and Christopher. These words instantly sank Christopher's heart to the bottom. He heard Ally's cry and came out, but thought I had hurt Ally out of jealousy. Christopher was extremely annoyed, but even so, how could I just give up? Back in the room, he suddenly noticed the box on the bedside table. It was the birthday gift I had given him. He curiously opened the box. Inside was a portrait of his mother, who had passed away many years ago. Christopher gently touched the face in the portrait. After his parents divorced, his mother went to France. He lived there for a long time, and it wasn't until his death that he learned from his neighbors about the existence of such a painting. I had only heard him mention it, yet it stayed in my heart ever since. I went to France and searched for a long time before finally buying it from a painter with all my savings. Ally was the moon he held in his hands during his youth. I am not the bright moon. I am the one who has always been by his side with genuine sincerity. Christopher carefully placed the painting into the box, then sat on the edge of the bed, clutching his chest. Looking up, I realized I had even taken the wall lamp we both once loved. At the birthday party, he didn't confess to Ally as expected. Yet Ally publicly confessed her feelings to him in front of everyone. He should have been overjoyed. This was what he had yearned for all these years. It was the regret Ally had buried in his heart ever since she went abroad. That was the dream of his youth. And only when he saw me resolutely walk away did he realize the dream had long been shattered. When everyone was egging each other on, he fled, running home in utter disarray. I was no longer at home. No longer was there a me who would leap into his arms the moment the door opened. There's no longer a me who clings to him at night, acting spoiled and refusing to sleep. At this thought, Christopher took out his phone and frantically called me. At the banquet, I frowned at the incoming call and, hardening my heart, directly blocked the number, blocked all contact information related to Christopher. Shen Xingzhou asked me with a smile, "Are you really willing to let go? You used to be completely devoted to that man." His smile suddenly faded as he picked up the glass and downed it in one gulp. "If you truly regret it, I'll help you." I took a sip from the glass, the burn of alcohol down my throat jolting me awake. From the day I found out he lied to me, it was over between us. I saw Christopher again at a project bidding event. He had Ally with him, and from the moment I walked in, his eyes never left me. I pretended not to care at all and calmly took the stage to present my proposal. I thought it would be a tough battle, but I didn't expect Christopher's company to have declined so much. The project unsurprisingly fell into my hands. After it was over, Ally walked over to me. "Miss Campbell, I never expected you and Christopher to become rivals. You must have put a lot of thought into this project. It seems after leaving Christopher, you've latched onto a big tree." I picked up the project proposal without backing down. "Miss Ally, what? Did you think work matters are like men, that you can get them just by crying a little or taking off some clothes?" Ally's face was full of anger as she raised her hand to swing at me, but it was caught by Christopher. The people around whispered, their eyes filled with disdain as they looked at Ally. Ally's face turned red. "Christopher, are you just going to stand there and let Lily humiliate me?" Christopher spoke in a deep voice. "Ally, stop fooling around. We're simply outmatched." Ally slapped Christopher across the face. "Christopher, you've changed. You weren't like this before." I really didn't want to watch their ridiculous drama anymore. As soon as I walked out of the building, I saw Shen Xingzhou waiting for me in his car. Just as I was about to step into the car, someone grabbed my arm. Turning my head, I saw Christopher with half his face flushed, looking at me pleadingly. "Lily, I want to have a proper talk with you." Shen Xingzhou's fist was already raised, but I stopped him. In the cafe, Christopher was the first to speak. "Lily, what can I do for you to forgive me? Even if it was my fault before, you can't throw away your entire life just to punish me." I reached out and picked up the glass. The dazzling diamond ring on it symbolizing my status. I never do things I'll regret, Christopher. From the moment you decided to deceive me, it was over between us. I just came here to tell you, don't ruin the company over a woman. The company is Christopher's father's lifelong effort left for him. I remembered a friend once told me, I saw Ally on a date with a strange man. Christopher, is this the retribution you deserve? I can only remind you this far. When I got home, Shun Xingzhou held me against the wall in dissatisfaction. Lily, I'm really unhappy with how he looks at you. I stood on tiptoe and gave him a quick, light kiss on the cheek. Shun Xingzhou, however, jumped as if he'd been electrocuted. Lily, you're playing with fire. I laughed and slipped away from under his arm. Shun Xingzhou, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to accept a new relationship so quickly. The next day, Shun Xingzhou's mother placed a box in front of me. These are Xingzhou's belongings. The password is your birthday. I curiously opened the box. Inside were a hair clip I had lost as a child and a diary. Since childhood, he loved chasing after you and clinging to you. Only after learning you had a boyfriend did he decide to go abroad. I came back immediately this time too when I heard you were being bullied. Mother Shun held my hand with relief. Lily, you're someone I've watched grow up, and I believe you'll never let Xingzhou down. I nodded. In the past, I was always the one chasing after Christopher, never imagining there'd be someone always watching over me from behind. Since I've made up my mind, I must live my life well. But just on my way home from work one day, my car broke down. While I was checking the car, I was suddenly knocked unconscious by a few people who appeared out of nowhere and taken away. When I woke up, Ally's face appeared before me. Her expression was vicious as she slapped me across the face. Lily, how can your few years with Christopher compare to the bond we've shared since childhood, just because of a few words from you? He started doubting me. How is that fair? I voiced the suspicion in my heart. Ally, Christopher loves you so much. Why would you still want to ruin his company? The woman before her burst into hysterical laughter. Love? What is love? What use is a man's love? There are plenty of men who love me. Christopher just happens to be the most useful one. If it weren't for you, I would have been Mrs. Garcia by now, she said while pinching my chin with her fingers, her eyes filled with jealousy. A woman like you, why does he keep remembering you? Ally's phone rang. She just glanced at it and snorted coldly. To think he'd actually give up all his shares in the company for a woman like you. Christopher has really changed, truly changed, the woman before her muttered to herself, as if trying to convince herself. That makes things much simpler. She suddenly placed her phone in front of me. Lily, since both Christopher and Shun Xingzhou are willing to trade the entire company for you, you choose. I bit down on Ally's hand. I won't choose anyone. Go ahead and kill me if you dare. You won't get a single cent. Ally suddenly stopped her hysterics and stared straight at me. Kill you? What a nice thought. I'll make you wish you were dead. After saying this, she called in several men from outside. Tell me, Christopher and Shun Xingzhou, if they saw you like this, would they still fight over you? I'm going to record your most shameless state and make them all accompany me to hell. This woman has truly gone mad, Ally said while raising her phone. Lily, no one can take anything from me, including Christopher. As long as I destroy you, Christopher will return to me. Several men slowly approached me, and I took a deep breath. While still trying to figure out how to buy time, a loud roar erupted from outside. Ally looked outside with an expression of utter disbelief. Impossible. Who is it? I instantly felt a wave of relief. Someone had been following me for a while, and I had told Shun Xingzhou about it. He had someone install tracking software on my phone. When Ally threatened him, I guess he was already on his way, and the Shun family's only helicopter was the fastest means of transportation. The next second, the warehouse door was kicked open. Christopher and Shun Xingzhou walked in anxiously. Ally, let Lily go. I'll give you everything I promised. Christopher's words seemed to provoke Ally. She pulled out a knife from somewhere and pressed it against my neck. Lily, you're really lucky to have people willing to bankrupt themselves for you one after another. As she spoke, she cast a resentful glance at Christopher. Christopher, she doesn't love you anymore. Why won't you accept me? Ally's hysterical words made Christopher frown. His gaze suddenly softened as he slowly approached. Ally, I've already announced our engagement. Soon you'll be Garcia. Ally finally regained her composure, her eyes filled with delight. Christopher, I always knew you loved me. Christopher gently persuaded her to put down the knife and pulled her into his embrace. Shen Xingzhou ran over, untied the ropes binding me, and held me tightly in his arms. A scream pierced the air. Ally looked down in horror at the silver handcuffs on her wrists. Why did you lie to me? Christopher kicked her to the ground. I can tolerate you stealing the company's money. It's my debt to you. From the moment you hurt Lily, this is your fate. Ally seemed to have no reaction at all, not even crying out as she was taken away by the arriving police. I only found out later. Ally not only took advantage of her position to embezzle a large amount of company assets after joining Christopher's company, she also frequently suppressed colleagues who thought well of me. The colleagues who were deliberately suppressed by her suffered greatly and resigned one after another, which finally made Christopher start to sense something was wrong. In prison, Ally stubbornly refused to admit where all the money had gone. The massive losses left Christopher's company facing a financial crisis. Months later, I represented the new company in acquiring Christopher's company. When signing the contract documents, Christopher kept staring at my belly in a daze. Not even noticing that the pen in his hand had snapped. Director Garcia, the media is watching. Please sign quickly so I can wrap this up. My lower abdomen was slightly swollen, yet my face showed an expression of urgency. This was entirely an accident. On Shen Xingzhou's birthday, both he and I got drunk. Somehow, we ended up sleeping together. The next month, we discovered the arrival of this little life. After signing the papers, Christopher murmured to himself, if we hadn't separated, our child would probably be about this age now. My heart skipped a beat as I shook my head. Christopher, everyone needs to move forward. Maybe you'll meet someone more suitable for you. He opened his mouth as if to say more, but then turned and walked away. Shen Xingzhou was waiting for me downstairs. If you don't come down soon, I'm going to call the police. Christopher always looks like he's about to take you home every time he sees you. I really want to lock you up at home. I pinched Shen Xingzhou's cheek. Can't you act like a proper father? You're so stingy. He hugged me tightly and rested his head on my shoulder. All those years, I let him have you. Do you know how much I missed you? I keep thinking, if I had told you sooner, maybe you wouldn't have had to suffer like this. My nose tingled with emotion, and I pinched his waist hard. Shen Xingzhou, I'm really lucky to have met you. Without him, how could I have crawled out of Christopher's quagmire? I touched my belly. This was the beginning of happiness. Christopher Extra. The night before the wedding, Ally came to see me. She said she had met a scumbag who left her heartbroken. She told me I was the best man in this world. She got drunk and fell asleep leaning against me. Back then, she went abroad with the person she liked, and I never got the chance to confess my feelings to her. I've liked her ever since the day she saved me when we were kids, after all these years of secret love. It actually came true, but Lily, what about her? So I staged a car accident to fake amnesia, all to fulfill a dream from my youth. But Lily is really so immature. She actually scalded Ally with milk, and when I told her to apologize, she stubbornly said she wanted to leave. Absolutely impossible. Lily's world revolves only around me. There's absolutely no way she would leave. I've always been by Ally's side taking care of her. I just need to stay with her until her birthday is over, then I'll go confess to Lily. She will definitely forgive me. But when Ally saw the photo on that red booklet on her birthday, I admit I was going crazy. The Lily who once treated me as her whole world has disappeared. When Auntie told me the milk was prepared by Ally, I suddenly understood everything. The white moonlight in my heart had long since changed, yet I hurt the woman who loved me most for her sake. Seeing the gift she carefully prepared for me, I only felt a sharp pain in my heart, but she blocked me, erased me from her entire world. When I saw her again, she warned me to be careful of Ally. When I discovered Ally truly had another man outside, that youthful heart was completely shattered. This woman was nothing like what I had perceived her to be, unlike Lily's wholehearted and pure love. This woman came to me with a purpose. Lily, on the day she was kidnapped, I was frantic with worry. I agreed without hesitation to Lily's request, as long as it could ensure her safety. I was willing to lose everything. Shen Xingzhou, however, was different from me. He had already arranged everything in advance. When I saw Lily tied up there, I truly wanted to kill that woman, ally, but she couldn't die. After all she had done, I wanted her to suffer a fate worse than death. I hired the best lawyer to ensure she was sentenced to life imprisonment. She would spend the rest of her life confined within. I will make her repent for what she has done for the rest of her life. Shen Xingzhou's extra story, loving Lily for who knows how many years. The pain of watching the girl you've cherished since childhood fall in love with someone else is truly something no one can understand. I had no choice but to go abroad alone to heal my wounds. I couldn't stand her flaunting Christopher's virtues in front of me, boasting about their sweetness together, yet I still secretly asked Lily's friends about her news. Her joys and sorrows each day revolved around Christopher. It's truly both painful and compelling to listen to. Upon hearing the news that she had been bullied by that guy Christopher, I dropped everything and returned to the country. Finally, I pretended to bump into her at the hospital entrance. She's still so adorable. Yet her face is streaked with tears. Christopher, that bastard. I'm going in to teach him a lesson. Lily stopped me, and I proposed to her with the lamest excuse. To my surprise, she agreed. I know she's just using me as a tool to heal her wounds, so what, if I get even the slightest chance? I won't back down like I used to. I'll make Lily know how much I love her. A fickle person like Christopher doesn't deserve Lily's love at all. Lily and I got our marriage certificate. Lily moved into my house. Lily became my assistant. Lily kissed me. Lily was kidnapped. Lily got drunk, and I finally succeeded in taking her place. Lily's world finally had Shen Xingzhou in it. Looking at the woman sleeping peacefully in my arms, I have never been as happy as I am today in my entire life. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, so feel free to share your opinions. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.